You are listening to the Banker's Secret Podcast, the Canadian guide to create a significant and positive impact on the financial success and everyday quality of life for businesses, individuals, and families. Building sustainable and dependable wealth, your host Glen has been serving Canadians since 2004.
Today's guests are talking about a product that literally does apply to every single person out there. If you're listening as an individual, if you're just representing yourself, or you're listening on behalf of your family, maybe you're a business owner and you're thinking, this might be something that's good for my business, you want to stay tuned to today's show. Our topic today is discovering the banker's secret, how you can become your own banker. It's all about money. We all need it. We all use it. And do we use it to its best efficiency? Our guests today are Glen. He's the CEO and founder of McGuire Financial, are the best-selling authors, just so happens, of a book called The Banker's Secret, A Simple Guide to Creating Personal Wealth for Canadians. Later on in the show, just after our first break, we'll be joined by Dwayne Burnell. He's the first number one best-selling author of the books Financial Peace of Mind and Financial Independence in the 21st Century.
Back in 2008, it really a unique concept that really enables a person to maximize their cash flow, minimize tax, and efficiently grow your wealth. And the foundation of becoming your own banker is a participating dividend-paying whole life policy from a mutual life company, and if correctly designed.
We're talking about what is the vehicle that makes it possible for someone to implement becoming your own banker.
Yeah. So it's a dividend-paying whole life policy, Daryl, and what we've discovered, it allows a person to enhance or supercharge their cash flows using key components of a policy, and it allows us to accumulate wealth much faster than a traditional whole life system. And most people aren't familiar with this type of a vehicle, and whole life has some very unique benefits that we want to educate people about. So most people were told never to purchase whole life. Instead, they should maybe buy term and invest the difference. And dividend paying has a lot of unique qualities, to be able to take control of your money and be able to utilize to buy things such as cars, send your kids to college or university, grow your business and things like that. And really, at the end of the day, imagine this for a second, Daryl, is the banking system, or having a banking policy, allows you to be the saver, the borrower, the banker, and the bank owner, and you get to control all of those functions on the you and me level.
I imagine you probably get the odd pushback from people going, "Oh, you mentioned insurance, and I don't understand how all that works," and they get a little suspicious. But what they don't realize, and what we're going to learn later on in the show, is one of the biggest consumers of that insurance are the banks themselves. And
Absolutely.
So it may seem like a new concept, but keep your mind open. It's a paradigm shift, and it's the furthest thing from a get-rich-quick scheme. It's just a different way of doing things. And it's a process you get involved in, and away you go. Glen, now you talked very, very briefly about what it means by being the banker in your life. Can you sort of elaborate on that a little bit for me?
Yeah, Dale. So, imagine what it would be like if you could, have your own banking system and, make loans to yourself, for that new car, or purchase that piece of equipment for your business, or even send your children to college or university. And, if you could just imagine for a second paying yourself back, all of that principal and interest on every loan that you need for the rest of your life, that would be huge. And like we share with people, as one of your objectives is to understand how you can control the banking process, and implement that banking policy. And so this is a strategy that would empower you to take financial control over your money, and you'll learn how to embrace the power of a banking system. And this is the same process that has created wealth for decades, as you mentioned earlier. I mean, banks are the biggest purchasers of bank-owned life insurance, and they've been using this for years.
If someone's kind of sitting on the fence, can they order your book through your website and kind of get that introduction, as you did with Nelson Nash's book? Can they?
Yeah, it's available on our website. It's also available on Amazon. We have got a full library, Daryl, on our website. Not only for Nelson's book, our book. We've researched the topic very well over the better part of a decade, and so our website has really all of the books that we feel that have been very valuable, including our own.
We have a special guest on the phone as well. Our guest on the phone is Dwayne Burnell. He's the best-selling author of the books Financial Peace of Mind and Financial Independence in the 21st Century. Dwayne.
Yes.
Welcome to the show.
Well, thanks for having me this morning. How are you guys doing?
Terrific. Hi, Dwayne.
What was your inspiration for writing the books Financial Peace of Mind and Financial Independence in the 21st Century?
Well, is that what's really important is regardless what's happening, in your life, that you are carrying on a banking function. And so the key is to get control of that banking function, and utilizing the life insurance is a fabulous way to get control of your finances, the banking function, so that you're not, beholden to some other institution on your journey through life. Whether you're, in your early 20s, a child, 20s, 30s, 40s, or retirement.
And before you discovered all this for yourself, can you describe to us what life was like for you financially?
Fortunately, I was, I was an entrepreneur in Canada and did very well and so forth. But when I think back, that if I would have had this system, and I call it a system because you have to understand that you have to apply the principles, and it takes time. It's not a get-rich-quick scheme or any of those things. If I would have had, utilizing life insurance over my entrepreneurial career in the oil industry in Alberta and so forth, I would have significantly more wealth today without question. Money leaves your circle. You bring money in and then it goes out the door, but if you can keep that money within your circle, then you'll be much wealthier at the end of the day. And what's equally important, control of the process.
Yeah, that seems to be the key that people want to hear about, is being able to control the process. How long have you been practicing, being the banker in your life, and how did you create a banking system?
That's an interesting question. Going back about 11, 12 years, I would say. I'm Canadian as well, but then moved to the United States and was first introduced to it in the United States, and, followed up with it and then really expanded it into Canada. So I found out, simply as most, readers and listeners, is that they were introduced to the book by Nelson Nash, Become Your Own Banker, and then was intrigued and researched more and was skeptical, like the listeners are today. And then, but there was something in there that was intriguing me, going, hey, what's this all about? And then did some research, and with anything on the internet, there's all the good and the bad and the ugly and everywhere in between. And what I found in life, if there is controversy, then there is something, to the concept and so forth. So I went down my own journey and met Nelson Nash, talked to the insurance companies, and just what I did is absolutely true. And then more people started asking me about the concept and my learnings and as far as how to use it and how to set it up and what to expect and what you have to do. There's responsibility. The responsibility is really on the person because it's your money. You have to operate and put your hat on like you're a financial institution, that you have to make regular premium payments, and then you have access to that. You create a pool of money that you have access to in your full control. And the insurance company is just the administrator. You phone them up and say, hey, I'd like to, purchase, or your need is to purchase a new car. And typically you go down to the bank and you say, hey, hi, why are you here? The banker says, and they go, I want to purchase a car. And they go, well, okay, how much? And they put a lien on it and all this paperwork. When you create your own pool of money in the insurance policy, in the insurance world, that when you want the money, you phone them up and say, please send me 20 grand. And they don't ask what you're using it for, what you're doing it, payments. They don't ask your work history. They don't ask your credit score. It's your money, and then you're in control of the process. And once you experience that you never want to go back. So McGuire Financial does a superb job in explaining how it works, why it works and why it would work for you. And, what do you have to lose? You spend a few dollars, but you have so much to gain.
Why would business owners and professionals be interested in this process?
That's really important. I'm glad you asked that question. What's the biggest issue with business owners is cash flow and access to cash. And when you need cash in a business, then that's typically when the banks won't give it to you because there's, cash flow imbalance or whatnot. So by creating your pool of money in the insurance products, that you get control of your banking process for the business, and it relates to your personal life. And for professionals, again, taxation is one of the biggest problems in the country, and you pay the tax once, put the money in the policy through the insurance company, and you're possibly never taxed again, so you can use the money over and over and over again without taxation and commissions and so forth. So it's critically important to get control of the banking process in your life, and especially for financial professionals, because taxation just eats up your money like no tomorrow.
Stated very well. Thank you so much for joining us today, and enjoy the rest of your weekend, Dwayne.
All right. Thank you very much, and you too.
Take care. Okay, Glenn, we've talked a lot about this. Let's come back now, just for people who are just joining us. How does the process of being your own banker work?
Well, what we do, Daryl, is help people understand the banking system, and the foundation of that is to really get a grasp on that there are four characters, in this play that we would say that there's the saver, the borrower, the banker, and the bank owner, and these characters have remained for hundreds of years. So the bank really kind of provides the saver with guaranteed safety, and the borrower gets access to funds for living needs like a car or a house. And of course, the qualified bankers trained to keep the deposits of the bank working hard without high exposure to risk. I know I worked at a major bank for several years, and the bank owner, perhaps the most elusive of the bunch, oversees one of the greatest wealth building principles of all time: interest income secured by quality assets. And so there are boot camps designed to educate people through this process, Daryl.
I think one of the concepts that we probably have to get clear to people is that this isn't an investment. This isn't like an option to what you do with your banking and then you take some extra money and invest it. This is a whole different process that is completely separate from investing money or the stock market. Now, we talked about the whole life insurance earlier, and our guest, Dwayne, mentioned that as well. What are some of the myths around whole life insurance, Glenn?
Oh, great question, Daryl. Most people, including, the gurus in the financial marketplace, understand that life insurance, typically is only for dying. And, what we discovered is, a unique type of whole life dividend paying is, one of the best kept secrets around. And did you know that, these policies, Daryl, have been around and have been paying dividends since 1848 in Canada? Most people are surprised to hear that. And, these companies have never failed to pay a dividend since inception. And, this type of a system allows you to use the living benefits, of your policy for all of the, types of things that we've mentioned earlier, like retirement savings, college, university education, buying cars, expanding your business. So, what we'd like to say to people is that you don't have to die to win.
Drill down for us a little bit, Glenn, some of the things you discussed that really matter for people, the real practical stuff that people can use.
Well, some of those items, Daryl, is really understanding the living benefits of dividends paid into whole life. Like I said, it's policies more than just for dying. We'll show people how to set up their own system correctly, and you'll discover the real truth in lending. Lending with security versus investing with risk, and basically people will discover to harness the banker's secret to protect and build and ensure their wealth for themselves and their family for years to come.
Glenn, you used to work in a bank. Very quickly, can you, as an investment banker, what are some of the lessons you learned at the bank?
Daryl, I'd say the biggest lesson that I learned, from my experience there was, that we've got to reverse the flow, of our money. People have got to stop the flow of the money going away from us and change the flow so that it flows back to us with very little risk. And unfortunately, Daryl, people have accepted the fact that, they have very little control over their money or their investments. And, banks don't accept this lack of control. The truth is that bankers always shift the risk, of that to someone else. And I'd strongly suggest that you go to YouTube, and here's a real cool video to look at is go view the backwards bicycle.
Backwards bicycle, you've mentioned that before. Okay, on YouTube, check that out. We had Dwayne Burnell in. Dwayne is an author of a number of books on financial peace of mind, financial independence. He had a great answer when we asked him why businesses and professionals would be interested in this process.
That's really important. I'm glad you asked that question. What's the biggest issue with business owners is cash flow and access to cash. And when you need cash in a business, then that's typically when the banks won't give it to you because there's cash flow imbalance or whatnot. So by creating your pool of money in the insurance product, that you get control of your banking process for the business, and it relates to your personal life. And for professionals, again, taxation is one of the biggest problems in the country, and you pay the tax once, put the money in the policy through the insurance company, and you're possibly never taxed again, so you can use the money over and over and over again without taxation and commissions and so forth. So it's critically important to get control of the banking process in your life, and especially for financial professionals, because taxation just eats up your money like no tomorrow.